Hi, everyone. I want to record this short video to give you an overview of the checklist for the Capstone website. This is how I will be grading your Capstone website. And if we were in class, I would definitely go through this and make sure you understood each little bullet point or like checklist box. So that's what we're going to do right now, hopefully very quickly. Okay. The first thing I want to point out to you and be really clear about is that this is how I'm grading you. And so to pass this assignment, your website must meet the following criteria, all the checklist boxes. Okay. If you do that, you pass, you get a score of 8 out of 10. There is no option for a 7 out of 10 or a 6 out of 10. You have to meet these criteria completely to be done with this assignment. If 8 out of 10 isn't enough and you want a 9 or a 10 out of 10, I will show you those details as well. But let's start with the basics, okay? First thing you've got to have is a homepage, okay? A homepage is just when I click the link to your site, what's the first thing that pops up, right? This is kind of like, you know what a homepage is. It's where everything is. It's like where I can navigate to all the other stuff. So you're going to have a website title. That title could be something as basic as Hannah's Capstone website, or it could be more creative. It's up to you. Somewhere on that homepage, you have to have your name displayed at least once, first and last. It might happen more than once, okay? You're going to have a description of your website where you explain that, like, this is where I'm collecting stuff from my senior year that shows that I'm ready to move on to my post-secondary life after graduation. Maybe that description is where you include your name. Up to you. And then the last thing on your homepage is there has to be easy navigation to where you have posted your podcast episodes and your 5-year plan. Those are the two things that you absolutely have to include on your Capstone website. And it should be easy for me to find them. So either everything's on the homepage and you're doing a really simple design and I just have to like scroll down to get to your podcast episodes and then scroll down some more to get to your 5-year plan. That's one option. Or if you are going to have those things be posted on separate pages that are linked to the homepage, you just got to make sure that that link is visible and obvious for me to see, and I can easily get there. Okay, then there's your podcast, which you are including on the website. It could be, once again, a separate section. Just everything's on that homepage and you've got a separate section for podcasts. It probably has its own little header. Or you could create an entirely new page. And in the video tutorial for how to use Google Sites, I will show you how to do both. Okay, so you're going to need a 1 to 3 sentence description of the general podcast, right? Like your podcast overall, not the episode, but the concept of your podcast. You're going to have that 1 to 3 sentence description that's going to hook the viewer into wanting to listen to your podcast, okay? And I will show you an example on the Serial Podcast website in just 1 minute. All of your podcast episodes have to either be linked or embedded. If you link them, what that means is it's like this is a link right here, this Serial Podcast website. It'll be like that, except it'll be your podcast. And basically, anyone viewing your website can click the link, and that's going to take them away from your page over to the anchor page, and then they're going to be able to listen to your podcast there. If you don't want to link it and instead you want to embed it, it actually embeds like a little player, right? Like a podcast player right in your website. So people stay on your website and they can click the play button and they can listen to each episode of your podcast. Each episode also needs to have a 1 to 3 sentence preview of what that episode is about. It should hook the listener, well, the viewer, I guess it's the viewer of your website. It should hook them into wanting to listen without spoiling the episode for them. And again, I'm recommending that you check out the Serial website. So we're going to click that link right now. And we're going to go to that website real quick. This is actually the season 1 page because that's the season that you guys listen to. And you can see it starts actually with a description of episode 1. But if you scroll down, You can see there's an image. It's actually an embedded player of each episode because I could press play and it would immediately start playing. But if you scroll all the way down, you can see there's a little overview about season 1. This is like, again, kind of describing what it's about without giving anything away. You will notice this is a couple of paragraphs long. So it is a lot longer than I am asking, but it is about season 1 overall. And that's what I'm looking for. I want you to give a short description of your podcast overall, and then individual descriptions for each episode. So you'll notice, like if we hover our mouse over episode 1, it says a potential alibi surfaces and then disappears again at the worst possible time for Adnan's case. So it's just like a little snippet that makes me want to know more and listen to the episode. And then here's the embedded player. I could just press play. Not going to. We're going to go back to the checklist. All right. So we've talked about your homepage. We've talked about your podcast. You also have to include your 5-year plan. This is very important, partially because this is how I'm going to grade your 5-year plan. I have not graded it yet. I'm going to grade your website and your 5-year plan at the same time. So please make sure your 5-year plan is on there. Just like with the podcast episodes, you could either link to your slideshow, which means, again, you are taking us away from your website to wherever your slideshow or video is located, or you can embed it right there within the website, and I can just press play and go through the slideshow or the video. Again, in my other tutorial where I show you how to make your website, I will show you how to do this. The last thing, as always, with assignments in English is conventions. You need to have correct capitalization on your website. That means names of people and places, right? Your name, certainly, Mesa, capital M, capital E, capital S, capital A, because it's an acronym, right? MESA stands for Mapleton Expeditionary School of the Arts. If you're going to write out Mapleton Expeditionary School of the Arts, you've got to capitalize the first letter of every single word because it's a title. It's like a name. It's a proper noun. Thornton, Colorado. Thornton and Colorado should both be capitalized, right? Things like that. Titles should be capitalized. So remember, title capitalization is basically, it's like this. Every word in a title is capitalized except for small words like to, the, a, for, little things like that, unless they come first. If the first word in the title is the, you're going to capitalize it just because it looks better. That's just how it works. If you need examples of that, you can just Google, title capitalization, and you will find all sorts of rules and examples online. You're going to want to have correct spelling. I should not notice any glaring errors. If you're going to write out Mapleton Expeditionary School of the Arts, double check your spelling on expeditionary, things like that. Correct punctuation, periods, question marks, exclamation marks aren't considered the most formal punctuation. So if you're going to use them, please use them sparingly. Every sentence should not have an exclamation mark. Otherwise, it's going to kind of feel like everything you're saying is like this. Okay, great, yay. Now look at this. It's weird. Don't do it. And then correct grammar in your written description. It should basically just be a polished professional piece of writing, just like anything else you would turn into my class. Okay. Once again, you need to be able to check off all of these boxes to earn an 8 and to pass this assignment. If you don't get them all checked off, I will make you revise until you do. So may as well do it right the first time. If you would like to earn a 9 or a 10, you're going to, once again, like always, go above and beyond a little bit. So this is just a list of suggestions. This is not, you don't have to do all of these things. You also could do something above and beyond that is not mentioned on this list, okay? So some things that I thought of. Exceptionally eye-catching and professional-looking design. It looks like you paid someone to make this website. Please don't pay someone to make your website. That's cheating. But if it looks like you did, that's great. Each episode of your podcast might include a few artifacts. So I'm thinking about Serial and how each episode, I'm coming back over here to their website, they will have like, oh, here's a letter, here's like Asia's letter, Asia's affidavit, here's some architectural plans, here's timelines, here's a map of people, here's Jay's Best Buy map, right? Like you don't have to have that type of stuff. But if you had artifacts that you could include that would enhance your content, maybe photos, maybe maps, possibly journal entries, maybe you have some related artwork or notes, anything that you could include that's kind of similar to what's happening on the website that just kind of adds another layer to your podcast. That's awesome, and that can definitely earn you an A on this assignment. Maybe you are one of the students who chose to record 3 episodes, even though I changed the requirement to 2. That if all 3 episodes are on your website, that's another above and beyond thing. Photos from high school could be tastefully included into your website. I don't want your website to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm being bombarded with this like collage of photos and it's hard to find the things I need to find. But if you have a way of including photos, particularly from things like extracurriculars or intensives, right? Like high school things or your senior pictures that you spent money on, and you want to show those off, photos are great. They make your website look awesome. What else? Any additional pages or sections that you want to include to display some of your high school or PSO artifacts. That might be a link to your personal statement so people can read it. A link to your resume, that would be awesome. Your IRP, so people can read not just the short little like summary that you gave in the 5-year plan, but we could actually read your paper. That would be really cool. Any artwork, Mesa's an art school, so if you have artwork that you want to show off, you could have a separate page or a separate section for that. Any outstanding work samples, like maybe you want to show off a paper or a project that you did and you really just want to show like I did this in high school. Wonderful, you can post that. Photos, videos, or other artifacts of extracurricular activities, I kind of covered that. Maybe you want to have a thank you page or an appreciation page where you just appreciate the people who have gotten you to this point where you're about to graduate. And maybe if you're feeling inspired by this week's journal entry, you want to have like a top 10 high school memories type page. That would be great too. Lots of options and, whatever works for you. I'm very excited to see on your website. So please let me know if you have questions.